Welcome to today's edition of Hot Topics. Today, we shall be looking at the basic difference between leadership and governance. Leadership involves the ability of an individual or group to exert influence on another set of individuals or group or organization within a community. When an individual has the ability to exert influence, whether positively or negatively, over the other individuals or groups that he or she is in close proximity with in a community, then that person is said to be in leadership and exerting the influence of a leader. Now, leadership can be found at different levels and at different places, starting from the home, religious organizations, corporate organizations or corporate bodies, even governmental organizations and institutions, even in sport teams, and even on the streets among street gangs and street urchins. There's a form of leadership. When there's a group of individuals or there's a community of individuals and an individual has certain ability or the ability to exert certain influence on the rest of the group, then such a person is said to be a leader or is in leadership. And it could be a single person exerting all the form of influence and authority in the case of a dictatorship or in the case of monarchy. Even though in some cases, especially in the West African part uh, of the continent where I came from, the king usually is not the sole person in charge of leadership. He has a body of chiefs that helps him in the administration of day-to-day activities of the kingdom. However, when an individual can singularly or more or less solely singularly influence the activities, the direction, the decisions of other people that he or she is in close proximity with within a community, then that individual is said to be a leader or said to be in leadership. However, governance is slightly different. Governance involves the establishment of institutions, organizations, arms, bodies, units that help to set the rules, the norms, and actions of the organization. It provides structure. It helps to sustain, regulate, and even make accountable the norms and all the parameters, all the decisions that group or that community have decided to uh, lead themselves or govern themselves or administer themselves by. So let's take a sports team for example. Let's use soccer. Soccer is a team that is played by 11 players. It's a game that is played by 11 players on either side of the team on a soccer pitch. Now, among those 11 players of a team, there's usually a person called the captain. That captain is the leader of the team on the pitch of play. And so that captain more or less exerts influence on the team. Now, the team may have more than 11 players, and there they have a coach. And that coach is the exact the leader of the entire team. But in a soccer team, for example, let's say a team of about 25 players with the 11 that will play, with the coaches and the other assistants there, the organization is being and the team is being run. But the also head responsible for the entire individuals there is the coach or the head coach. And so he is the leader. He exerts influence. He decides who's to play, who doesn't play, who's what position to play, what position you don't play, because the coach is in charge of the entire team before they get whether they are in the field of play or outside the field of play. He is number one person responsible, and so he can take decisions how he wants. Even if people give him the right input, he might say, "No, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to do," because the box stops on his desk. And the coach is demonstrating leadership. However, for governance to really work, that coach is not the only person that is in part of the team. He usually has an assistant coach, or what you call a deputy coach. He has a team trainer, a physical trainer. He has a goalkeeper trainer in some cases. He has a media personnel. He has welfare personnel that handles the welfare, the reservations, and the well-being of the players. He has a team doctor that attends to the medical and health needs of each individual team members. He has, in some cases, they have psychologists that works with the psyche and psychology and mentality of the entire team, especially the football players. They have protocols officers. They have PR officers. Now, when an individual begins to delegate responsibilities and begins to put certain institutions in place, certain apps in place, so that the entire activities of the organization can be harmonized, then such an individual or such a group is said to be established in the form of governance. Leadership is more or less an individual or assigned to a set of individuals alone. But when institutions, arms are established, laws are made to back up that established arms and functions within that organization, and there are people assigned to positions to make sure that the smooth running of the entire organization, the activities of the organizations are coordinated, and people are given responsibilities, and people are made accountable to what they do, then that organization is said to be in governance or has a system of governance. It's not just leadership. And that is why you find that, take a country, for example, let's say the United States of America, we have the presidency. The president of the United States of America is the president, is the head of the executive branch. So he's the president, he's a leader. But he's not governing alone. Because in the executive branch, even in the presidency, you have the president's office, you have the office of the vice president. In some places, you have the office maybe of the head of service, and all of that. You have the chief security officers to the president. You have the head of the CIA. You have the office of the chief of staff, and all that. Then you now go to the various departments. You have the Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of this, Secretary of that. The essence of establishing all these offices is to delegate responsibilities, is to bring about the expertise, the experience, and the knowledge of people so that all of them can be harmonized for a common good. And that people will be given responsibility so that they can be held accountable. That the person who's in charge of the entire organization is not bogged down with a lot of responsibilities because it's just an individual, it's not a superhuman being. So when you have an organization that institutions, arms are established, and people are given responsibility to ensure that the objectives, the goals, the desires, and the aspiration of that community or of that organization is fully and maximally attained, then that organization is said to be in governance. It has a form of governance or a governance system taking place. But when it's just the activity of an individual, set of individual, and there are no rules, there's no delegated authority, no delegated responsibility. Everybody is just, and the power is concentrated in one person, and then one person takes decision, or a set of people just take decision, and nobody knows what is going on here. If you want to go into your or you take your decision, it's just one individual you talk to, then that person is just in leadership, just exerting the form of leadership. And usually there'll be chaos. As an example to show this difference, happened in the life of the children of Israel when they have been released from bondage in the land of Egypt, and they were going in the wilderness into the promised land. And they will have issues. They will come to Moses, who was their leader, who God used to deliver them, and they will bring all their issues to Moses. And Moses will sit from morning to night to hear the dispute, the one fighting with his wife, the one fighting with his brother, sister, and all those issues. He'll be there to judge the matter day and night, morning, day and night. He was just doing it by himself because he was the one they saw as the leader. It got to a point that Moses' brother-in-law, Jethro, called him and said, the way you are going, young man, you will soon die. You will die before your time. You are going to be here and hearing the complaints and the grievances of everybody. You will soon die. And I told him, look, establish a governance system. Pick people, select people that you know are good, are competent, and let them assist you in the process of administering the grievances and settling the disputes among the people. Let them especially handle the smaller issues. But the ones that are too difficult, that are too greater for them, that they can't resolve, then they can bring to you. That way you have more time for yourself to do other things. And so Moses heeded to the advice. And therefore, he called them, I think, by their tribes and by the elders in the families and said, okay, he prayed for them, he laid his hands upon them and says, you go and, if you have these issues, if you have these trivial issues, go to this person by your tribe, by your family, by your clan, and so resolve it among you. If there are issues you cannot resolve, then bring it to me. That is the establishment of governance. He is delegating responsibility, and is holding people accountable to the laws that have been given, because Moses was given the 10 Commandments. The laws that they have chosen to govern, to guide their conduct within that community, within that environment. And so some set of people have been administered into position. So for you to become an effective person in leadership or in leadership, you must establish a governing system, no matter how small the organization is, no matter how little. For example, I gave the case of a soccer team. The coach, the head, he must have the assistant coach, he must have a media personnel, he must have the welfare personnel, he must have a physical trainer, he must have a medical doctor, a psychologist. The coach can't be anything. And these are very cogent, important needs of the players, of the team members. And so by assigning responsibility, by delegating responsibility, by giving people positions and holding them accountable, making sure that they also will be accountable to themselves and to the needs and to the norms and to the laws of that organization or of that team, whatever is set to achieve, then they are in governance. Even among the players themselves, the captain is the head. The captain can decide to say, you know what, among us, you will be my assistant. When I'm not there, you'll be the one to take over. You see, you are one of the newest members of the team. You'll be in charge of warfare. You take our shoes, our training kits, and you'll be responsible that they are safe. Whenever we want to eat, you'll be the person to make sure that our food is ready and we get our food on time. You liaise with the welfare officer of the team and get this thing ready. You are very good at talking. You handle most of our media invitations or media engagements. Since what usually the captain that speaks, but sometimes the captain is not very good at speaking, somebody else can be delegated. It's not everything that an individual or certain set of people must do. So for you to have an effective and efficient functioning community organization or system, there must be the establishment of a governance system. And that way, the goals, the ideals, the desires of that organization, of that community, of coming together can be better, easily, and be easily achieved. They can achieve it better, easily, and in a faster period of time. So, whatever place you might find yourself in leadership or where you have the opportunity to exert influence over others, please ensure that you establish a form of good governance system if it is possible, where it is possible. That way, you have people to assist you to get the job done. Thank you.